You don't gotta beg the enemy to act right. This is your kingdom. What you say is, it goes. He is intruding. So when God wanted to extend us his kingdom authority in earth realm, he gave us authority to rule in his name. And the only beings that have legal right to rule on the earth, unless we give it to them, is us. This is our territory. And since God gave it to us, he would not overrule his law. And what is his law? That this is your domain. This is yours. I'm not going to interfere with it because I don't have a body. Now, when he did interfere with it and got a body, that's when things started to shift, right? That's when Jesus came in. He had legal right. He was born of a man. He wrapped on flesh. He had legal right to operate in the earth realm because he had a body. Any spirit that does not have a body is illegal. But what do you and I do? We allow them to run amok in our territory. God is bound by his word. We know that he says that I put my word above himself. So when he put his word that this is our territory, this is our domain, this is our stuff, he's not going to overrule it. King's words cannot be overruled, right? We see that in Daniel, that, the king liked Daniel, and Daniel, the folks asked king to make a law to trip Daniel up because he knew that they knew that Daniel wasn't going to serve them. Daniel was going to serve the Lord. So when the king made that law, he couldn't revoke it. So therefore, Daniel went into the lion's den. We also see that when the king's daughter, I forget which king it was, but the king's daughter asked for the head of John the Baptist, right? In a drunken stupor, his daughter came dancing seductively before him, and he was inebriated, and he basically told her, whatever you want, I'm gonna give you in whatever way. And she says, I want the head of John the Baptist. The king couldn't do nothing about it. He had to comply. We also see that in Esther, right? When King Xerxes asks Esther, what is your petition? What is your request? And she tells him, and petition and request are two different things, and that's not what I want to get into. But she basically begs for the lives of the Jews, and he could not revoke the decree that he signed with his signet ring that they would be exterminated. But what he could do is create a higher law, which actually liberated the Jews and gave and hanged Haman and his kids, right? And so the king's law cannot be overruled, but it can be counteracted with another law. So when we hear God he's not overruled his word for us. We are the kings in the earth. And he didn't overrule Adam and Eve's decision either. Why? Because only beings with bodies have legal right to rule in this domain. He could have intervened, but he would have been intervening on his word. He would be going back on his word and his promise to us, and that's not what he's going to do. So when Adam and Eve rebelled in Genesis 3, which I think, when we rebel and sin and stuff, that's an act of temporary insanity, they lost the total dominion or authority, right? So total dominion and authority, what I mean by that is they gave the enemy a right at that point, right? To have access to rule and try to reign and manipulate them. Spirits can only work if they have a body, just like God in the earth. Spirits can influence you. They can't make anything happen unless they influence you to do it. Same thing with God. Now, he could overrule whatever he want to overrule, and he could do it, but he doesn't, because he's not going back on his word to us that, hey, this is your stuff, and I am going to judge you according to how you're managing it, right? So when he tries to influence us to operate in purpose and all this other stuff, he's trying to influence the kingdom. But we have the decision to do it or not do it. We have rulership here.